So in our first video we have seen about the what is meant by the CPCSEA and IAEC and when they have established and all general introduction. Now coming to the CPCSEA. Now first we should know that the CPCSEA originally when from the it was comes under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India till May 2019, and then it is comes under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Drying under the Government of India. So now it is under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dyeing of Government of India. Now the objective of CPCA include this is to ensure that animals are not subjected to unnecessary pain or suffering before, during and after performance of the experiment on them. That means whenever we are using the animal, they should not get unnecessary pain before, during and after the experiment. For this purpose, under the delegate powers, the committee formulated breeding of and experiments on animals control and supervision rule 1998, which are amended in 2001 and then in 2006 to regulate experimentation on animals. Now what are the functions of this committee? First of all, registration of the establishment, conducting animal experimentation or breeding of animals for this purpose. For example, we have the animal house, and for that, after establishment of the animal house, we need to give the request with the prescribed fee to the CPCSE to you can say that giving us the permission, as well as to giving us the permission to constitute the institutional animal ethics committee. This ethics committee it will contains both the internal and external members. So the selection and assignment of the nominee for each institutional animal ethics committee, that is the function of the CPCSEA. That means the external members, the IAEC should consist of the external members and CPCSEA sending their nominee to the institutional animal ethics committee. Next is approval of animal house facility. Of course, it is not like that anything we can build up and we can keep the animal. There is a prescribed norms is there, what it should be there into the animal house, what should be the normal facilities available into the normal house. And once the institutional animal ethics committee is formulated, or before the formulation, CPCSEA it will send their team to inspect the animal house and to find that whether all the facilities are available or not. And yearly basis also, this whenever the members they are coming to the institutional animal ethics committee meeting, they are also supervising or inspecting the animal house and checking the facility. Then they are giving the permission of conducting experiments involving the use of animals. Now CPCSE through IAEC you can say that giving the permission to conducting the experiment. Now here whenever we are talking about the experiment, it is generally we are dividing into the two categories. One is the small animals, which is including the rat, mice, rabbit, guinea pig, etc., as well as the large animal, for example dog, monkey, those things, primitives. Now what will happen if there is this small laboratory animals are there, experiment involved into the small laboratory animals? In that case, if the procedure submitted by the PI, project investigator or the institutor, it is satisfied the committee members, then they are giving the permission to carry out the experiment. In case of the large animal, that is for the small animal, and in case of the large animal, if the committee is satisfied, then they will forward this project protocol to the CPCSEA for final recommendation. Next is recommending import of animals for the use of the experiments. action against the establishment in case of the established violation of any legal norms / stipulation, conduct of training program of nominee of the CPCSEA, conduct and support of the conference workshop on animal ethics. So these are the general function of the CPCSEA. Now coming to the IAEC or Institutional Animal Ethics Committee. Now what will happen of this, what is the objective of that? As we told that every experiment shall be performed under the supervision of the person duly recognized by the government for the purpose and under the responsibility of the person performing the experiment. That means IAEC should contain the veterinarian, they should contain the scientific investigator who can supervise and who can perform the experiment. Next is this experiment, it should be should be performed under the due care and humanity as far as the possible experimental involved. Now during, as we have told that during the experiment, before and after the experiment, animal should be taken the proper care, as well as if you can say that it is required to killing of the animal or sacrifice of the animal. Killing is not proper, sacrificing of the animal, or you can say that after the experiment, if the animal getting the intense pain and that required the sacrificing, it should be carried out under the proper anesthesia or the proper euthanasia method. Euthanasia means to sacrificing the animal with proper guidelines. You can say that next is experiments on the animal should be avoided whenever it is possible. Though that is another important thing, experiment should be avoided. If it is essential, then only you should carry it, and if there is alternative like in vitro method, in silico method, and if it is satisfy the experiment, then no need of the in vivo experiment. Next is in case of the experiment on the large animal, it should be avoided. Better you try with the small animal. If it is not essential, do not use the larger animal. Next is as far as possible, experiments are not performed merely for the purpose of acquiring the manual skill. It is not like that I want to gain the knowledge how to sacrifice the animal, that's why I am using the experimental animal. No, for manual skill there is no requirement of the experiment, only for the experimental purpose. Animal intended for the performance of experiments that properly looked after before and during the experiment, of course, and suitable records should be maintained with the respect of the experiment to be performed. And experiments, or you can say that animal also hire from you are taking the animal after sacrificing, what you are doing with the animal, what is the process of the sacrificing, all those things, it comes under the preview of Institutional Animal Ethics Committee. Now what is the composition of the Institutional Animal Ethics Committee? Now here Institutional Animal Ethics Committee should consist of the 5 members from establishment. One is biological scientist, 2 scientists from different biological discipline, 1 veterinarian, and 1 scientist in charge of the animal house. So this is the total 5 people. And chairperson and member secretary should be appointed from these 5 members. Of course, if the administrative head who is non-scientific background, who is from the non-scientific background, if you are including someone as a chairperson in the committee, then they should, a IAEC member from the establishment should be 6 members, plus 6 members. And nominee, one is the main nominee, another is the link nominee who is nominated by the CPCSEA, main nominee, link nominee. Link nominee, if the main nominee is absent, then link nominee will act as a main nominee. Next is scientist outside from the institution, number 1, one scientist and 1 socially aware nominee. So this is, you can say that here the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, actually total is 9 members. Here it is given because link nominee in absence of main nominee, but nowadays this 4 and 5, total 9 members is included in the IAEC. Of course, if the chairman is from the non-scientific background, then the committee it will be from the 10 members. So this is the composition of IAEC.